Welcome to the Wine and Spirits Portalcast, a gateway to go beyond the story, bring those big why questions out to play, and transcend them into spiritual understanding. I'm your host, Salwa, Ascension Guide, Light Code Activator, Imperfect Human, Weirdo who talks to spirits more than humans, and Divine Smartass, on a mission to help activate the masses while enjoying the full spectrum of this human experience. Join me as we ask, receive, and activate. Hi guys, welcome to the Wine and Spirits Portalcast, a gateway to go beyond the story, bring those big why questions out to play, and transmute them into spiritual understanding. Today, I'm excited for this episode because we're going to do a Q&A mashup. I'm taking questions from 4 different people that sent anywhere from 1 to 4 questions, and I'm going to just mash them up into one big episode instead of waiting for the proper time to do everyone's question. Ain't nobody got time for that. The downloads are faster than the uploads. So here we go. Q&A mashup episode. And just to preface, I do not sit with these questions before the episode. I'm not allowed. The team is like, nope. My spirit team gives me permission to open the messages, pull the question, just so, to make sure I don't take the whole greeting and the personal talk, and I just pull the question and I paste it on my notes, and then I just get to come hit record, and that's when we really call in the answer. You want to call it channeling, fine, but it's really being told through my personality, so I think it's just the answer that comes to me from a higher knowing with the solveness that comes with that. So here we go. Let's get straight to it. There's quite a bit to cover. I'm going to go in order of how these were received, so don't read too much into it if your question does not come first. Sonia. And I am looking at my computer to read these. If you're watching on YouTube, don't think that I script anything. I am just making sure that I read the question word for word. Sonia says, let's talk about imposter syndrome and why women have a harder time with success than men, even though women know that they do much better than men many times in whatever field they are in. Boom, Sonia. She said it, not me. So again, a woman can be making millions, having the best life ever, yet the imposter syndrome gets in the way. That is a great question. That is a great question because I hear the words imposter syndrome a lot, and I'm going to be completely honest, that is not something that is personal to me. So I've never really sat and read about it. It's one of those things that I'm like, when this question came in and I saw the word imposter syndrome, I was like, oh man, well, I guess we're going there. So imposter syndrome really is like the feeling of kind of being the con artist. It's the feeling of not being good enough, of almost like overselling and under-delivering from what I was shown. Not from what I Googled, from what I was shown. So when I think of it like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess there's been moments that, maybe I've felt that way, but this isn't really fair that women have it more. Why is that? And you do hear women having it more. So if you think about the underlying energy of imposter syndrome, there is fear and there is shame underneath it. There is fear of not being good enough. There is fear of not being as real of a deal as you want to be. There is fear of not fitting in, of being cast out. There is fear of you being seen in you-ness being enough. And at times, shame. There is shame attached to the story that, oh, I just delivered this and I think I could have done better. I think so-and-so did better. I don't think I belong here. And then you start to put this shameful energy on your work. So I'm curious and I'm asking, why is it happening more frequently in women? Why do we hear about it more frequently than women? Well, if you think about fear, if you think about shame, those are emotions. Those are not really heady things. For the most part, those are feelings. And if you think about women versus men, we are innately more emotional beings. We just are. Men tend to be more heady, women tend to be more hearty. Of course, there's a beautiful harmony and ebb and flow and partnerships, and we all have our own feminine, our own masculine within to harmonize. But for the most part, women are more emotional beings. Therefore, we can attach more emotions to our work. We can create something, work our asses off, deliver it, and then start to process it through our heart. How do we feel about that? How do I perceive that others felt about that? How do I feel about me versus them? We start to feel. And emotional compass is not meant to be this like stable thing, this like very literal judgment of work. You know, if you do an exam, think of a Scantron test, and you have A, B, C, D, and then you turn your test in and you get a grade based on the correct answer. Was it A, B, or C, or D, whatever? But the feminine, their test is more than likely going to be open questions where you have to write your answer. And then that leaves room for interpretation of how it's received, because it's a more subjective way of quote unquote grading performance. And that is where we leave room to feel maybe not good enough, maybe like someone did better. Whereas men, they're like, well, the answer, is very logical. Was it A, B, or C? What did I get? Boom, that's where I rank. So the way that we judge our own work is very emotional and leaves a lot of openness. If you look at women innately going back lineages and lineages, we were often punished or chastised for showing our true power, our true magic. The witch wound is strong. The witch wound lives on today. And so now, obviously, not every woman is out there trying to show that she knows magic and casting spells or, speaking up about things that are taboo. That's not every woman. Some women are just in corporate doing jobs that are, for a lot of men, just black and white. But women carrying that witch wound does affect the way that we perceive all the work, because we're healing the parts of us that felt safe to speak up, to show up, and to just deliver our work, deliver our message. That part of you lives. That part of you is here to heal. And that part of you is going to have residual moments where you're going to confidently show up to that board meeting and give your presentation or pitch your whatever you're pitching, and then process it through something that is so deeply innate and carried through from like lifetimes and lifetimes, and maybe not even your lineage. And it's going to make its way so that you can address it and heal it. So what I suggest that you do when these moments show up is to actually start asking your imposter syndrome for qualifying actions or reasons, and address all of those little what ifs that could come up. What if my presentation sucked? What if people in the room don't think I'm the real deal? And what does the real deal actually look like? What if, what if, what if? And the minute you start unwrapping all these what ifs, you bring them to the light. So they lose that fear. Because if you bring fear to the light, it's no longer this dark fear. Now it's just a thought that at one point was in the shadow. You carry it over to the light. So play with those what if scenarios. Give it life. Give it light. What if I go on stage and I talk about something and everybody in the room thinks I'm fucking nuts? Okay, I still delivered my message. I still gave my expression life. I am the real deal, whether they perceive it this way or not, because I did that. Start giving all of those thoughts that are deeply hidden, that are giving you fear. Start giving them life, light, bring them out. And that is how you can start transcending them and start losing this. And chances are that if you suffer from imposter syndrome once, twice, you're going to continue to. But the difference is that you are going to start catching it faster and moving it faster and alchemizing those dark, shameful, not good enough thoughts into the opportunity to give yourself the best pep talk of your life and show yourself how you are that and more. You are that and more because you are able to work with your imposter syndrome and alchemize it into the fuel that makes you take it to the next level. Like, that's amazing. That you should be proud of. Another reason that comes to mind of why women have imposter syndrome more than men is our dedication to giving life. If you think about it, we create life in our womb and we birth it like physically, and it has this cord attached to it, and somebody has to physically cut the cord. If they don't cut the cord for us, we probably wouldn't. How many women do you see giving birth and cutting the cord themselves. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, so please don't DM me like, oh, my aunts, whatever. Like, I'm sure women have, but for the most part, they give the scissors to the dad or the doctor does it. Somebody else cuts the cord because we are so dedicated to giving life and we will continue to give life that we almost need help knowing when it's time to stop being the source of light. So with work, with projects, with whatever message you're giving, whatever it is that you deliver through your business, that you start to judge how good it is or how real you are at what you do, or that you're not a con artist, whatever, start thinking, is it that it wasn't good enough? Or is it that I am so committed to giving things life that the minute it's delivered, I feel like if I don't keep giving it life, I am not the real deal because I'm only real if I am birthing the creation and giving it life day after day. Some women in particular have a hard time cutting the cord with any energetic manifestation. Whether it's a book you wrote, a talk you gave, whatever. Give it life, birth it, cut the cord. If you don't cut the cord, you will continue to judge yourself as the main source of life for that entity. And you will feel a bit of con artisty or imposter syndrome if you hold yourself to the standard that it is your job to continue to give it life. No, your job is complete once you've birthed it. Let it have life. Move on to the next. So Sonia, I hope that helps. I could probably talk further on it, but I'm being told that was, they're like, I was going to say enough. They're like, more than enough. Cool. I'll take that. That was more than enough. That was delivered. Thank you for that wonderful question. Going on to the next. This one is from Fernie. That's our nickname. We're going to stick with it. Why did I get parents that constantly disappoint me? LOL. Not that something in particular happened this weekend or anything. It's just something that I wonder all the time. I have been a good daughter and I'm constantly trying to get closer to them, especially now that I have a daughter. But it just seems that we vibe in such different levels. I keep forgiving, but they keep doing things that make me sad. I know you know what I mean. I have spent my Sunday hearing and watching your portalcast. Aw, wow. You really had nothing better to do? No, I'm kidding. Thank you for watching. And yes, okay, I know what you mean. I will mention that I did an episode called Why We Have Earth Family Drama, and I aired it after receiving this question. So I don't want to repeat a lot in case it sounds like you're a loyal watcher listener. But do go watch that because I cover a lot of this. But we have Earth family that constantly, quote unquote, disappoints, but the disappointment is a perception. It is only a disappointment if we really put the story of what we think they should be like attached to our experience. A lot of our Earth family is here to be our biggest teachers. And they are, like I've said before, they are this class at school that's super hard that you would drop out of if you could. If these humans were in your life by human choice, not soul choice, but by human choice, like, hey, I met them in high school, I love them, they're my friend. But if they acted like that, we'd be like, bish, bye. I ain't got time for your drama, right? Like how many Earth family people would we have cut out and called them quote unquote toxic and dramatic? Like a lot of them. But the reason they're our Earth family is because they usher in some of our biggest lessons. And we have these karmic and soul agreements with them that they're going to usher these lessons in and make it very hard for us to drop out before completing it. I know how much it hurts when you are trying to do your part and it seems like it's misunderstood or not reciprocated. I know how much it hurts to look at other people's Earth family and be like, why do they get full house? You know, we sit at the couch and we iron it all out. And I'm over here with Sci-Fi Network and or Tales from the Crypt. Like, why? Those people are going to get their lessons elsewhere for the most part, or they're going to birth their big teacher. You have to have big teachers in your Earth family, and that is because you chose it. And I know that we think that the best way for them to love us is for them to show up a certain way that feels safe and loving. But what if it is so safe and loving to have Earth family that shows you their wounds, that to have earth family that comes into your life that you're working so hard to create and have this happy sanctuary, and they show up with their like wounds open and get blood everywhere and then expect you to clean it up. There's a part of us that's like, that's not love. You want me to like clean up your mess for you. But what if their soul loves and trusts you so much that they are willing to show you those parts of themselves? And what if you can release these two things that will make it so much more bearable? Judgment and expectations. And that is a practice to look at your family and release the judgment of their actions and label it as good, bad, hurtful. They hate me. They like my sibling better. They like so-and-so's kids better. They're release the judgment of it and the expectations. I mean, nobody really tells you what your earth family should be like. We want to believe that it should be this always safe, celebratory, happy place. But what if the expectation of what they should be is a story that we change into this is a place where everybody brings their wounds. It's this emergency room where there's people scattered in the operating table. And sometimes you think they're going to go and sometimes they go home and it's a miracle. What if it's this place? It's a safe container because we know we're not going anywhere. And so you can show up in your full imperfections and have a safe container to heal it, knowing that if you showed those parts of yourself elsewhere, they would not have anything to do with you. They would be so done. They'd be like, that bitch is crazy. But because it's your earth family, we'll call it mother, aunt, sister, whatever. Because it's earth family, we have that earth bond where we just hold space for them. Which leads me to the next point, which is the power of holding space. And, I tried really hard for a while to think of the perfect things to say to my family or certain people in my family, thinking that I could help them. I'm like, I'm a healer now. I can heal you. And just what are the words? What are the messages I can bring to you? Because if I can inspire everybody else, why can't I do it to you, motherfucker? Like, why? And it got me to the point, thanks to my guides and my team, that I realized that I am a more potent family member and healer if I just hold space and understand that if I bring my energetic field into their world of chaos with no words needed, I am bringing that peace. I am bringing that light that's going to help harmonize whatever it is they're going through. And it's going to be felt. It is palpable, but it is more potent if I just don't say a word. I don't need to say a word. And how empowering is that? Wow, I can bring healing into this space without speaking. Speaking, oftentimes with earth family drama, just kind of buries us further under. So try that. Release judgment and expectations of what and how they should be, and take back your power by not even wasting the power of your words anymore. Chances are, if they haven't worked before, they're not going to work now. And just show up in your full light, knowing that you're radiating the frequency of the energy that at the soul level this family chose you to usher in, and just stay in your power, stay in your peace, love them, and hold space for what and where they are. And trust me, that's a practice. That is a practice. Might get easier, but it's like almost like they know that's what you're trying to do. And then they will poke and poke and poke. Hold your peace. Bring the light. Understand the lesson and the blessing in them so that you can have peace as to why you chose them, why you chose that sci-fi movie versus, the Hallmark movie. So that was a great question. And watch that episode, Why We Have Earth Family Drama. I think that will also help. Next one, we will go to anesthesia. Okay, how do I connect with and recognize my spirit guides? She sent 4. We're going to start with that one. I get asked this all the time, and I actually think I'm going to go super deeper into this in another episode or create something, because this is like so innate in me that I forget. I forget that some people are like really wanting to know how to connect to the spirit guides. I will tell you that step 1 to connect with your spirit guides is to actually assess your life and see what can be removed. Purifying your channel is key. Now, by purifying your channel, I don't mean like you can't ever drink again. You have to pray 10 hours a day. You like have to fast. Like those things help. But, we're trying to connect with our spirit guides as a daily ritual. So we have to be realistic with the things that we can remove and be sustainable to have this relationship. Sometimes it's just a matter of less social media time. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's a relationship. For 95% of the people, there is always more power in purifying the vessel or your life or your sanctuary. So what is something that comes to mind? Ask your team, what can be removed from my life to help purify my channel? Once you receive that, put your focus on that, because as we become more pure, the veil gets thinner and we start to just like naturally, it's innate in us. We start to receive their words, their wisdom, because we have removed obstructions. There is so much power in that. Put probably the next 3 weeks or so, if you're kind of new at trying to connect with your guides, put 3 weeks of focus into removing something to become a more purified vessel and channel. Then, if you really have not been in the practice of hearing them, start giving them very, very specific things, questions, asks, such as, I feel really confused about XYZ. I could really ask for some clarity. I'm between choice A and choice B. And could you please give me a sign if I see a blue car in the next 2 streets? That's maybe a sign for yes, or, pick something maybe that's not everywhere. And if I see this, it's that. So ask for specific signs, because signs, not only are they easy to spot, but they will strengthen your faith in receiving muscles, meaning that you will actually start to believe, because you could ask for words. But if you're so new at this, you're going to start to think, did I make that up? Is this what I want to hear? So strengthen your receiving and faith muscles by asking for specific things and then seeing them and then noting when you see them. So that would be your second step. Your third, I recommend channel writing. That gives you a place to really express and solidify the answer. So me, I'm in constant chatter with them, constant, and I love it. Sometimes I have to turn it off. I have to be like, okay, time out, gotta go to bed. Oh wait, no, I gotta go to bed or whatever. It's constant chatter. And eventually you will get there. You will so get there because they're with you. But for the essence of receiving the message and starting to really know you're receiving the message, start with writing and channeled writing. And channeled writing is you writing to you as if you were them. So, dear anesthesia, and give yourself the intention of what you're trying to receive. So write that at the top. My intention is to receive clarity on my next business move. My intention is to receive clarity on this relationship, whatever. Start with the intention and then write to yourself from their point of view, from their voice. And don't think about it. Just start writing. The less you think and the more you write, the easier it will be to receive without you being in the way. And as you get into the practice of writing it, you will, on your own, when it's time, just start hearing them. You will start hearing them because you've opened the channel. But it goes in that order. So 1, purify the channel, remove whatever you can. 2, start asking for specifics. And that is for you to get comfortable asking and for you to get comfortable receiving. And 3, start writing what you receive. That's being told that's a pretty good start. So we're going to end that one there. Why is sight of the future considered a gift when there's seemingly nothing that can be done to prevent the catastrophes that may come to pass? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. I mean, they're all good, but I think it's important to note, first and foremost, that the gift is not sight of the future. So if we can shift the perception and not make sight of the future the gift, but instead just sight. And I'm talking psychic, I'm talking behind the veil sight. That is a gift because that means that you have worked hard enough to lift your own veil and you can see or feel events that it might transpire because you are not entirely living in a linear timeline. There's a part of you that can almost time travel, that already knows that they've been there and they've been there. They've been in the future, they've been in the past, in the present, and your veil is thin. So you have this sight. So some people might think, for example, we'll use the old school terminology, a psychic is so gifted. And how lucky are they? But to your point, are they lucky? Because if they feel that something bad's going to happen, can they really stop it? And does that diminish the gift? But that is how we really encourage you to first and foremost shift that perspective and see that the gift is really not in seeing the future, but the gift is in seeing beyond space and time, seeing beyond a linear timeline, and just having access to knowings, having access to your knowing. That is the gift. Now, to give you a personal example, when I was starting out, opening up to my gifts, still wondering if woo was taboo because I was in the church and I was in that place, right? I was born with my gifts super on and just trusting them and knowing and seeing. And then I kind of elected to take a little nap to survive in a society and in a relationship that I didn't think supported them. And then I started reawakening them. And I was running my fashion business and I would have these pop-ups coming up. And my guides would tell me, you're going to sell this much at this one. And sometimes there were numbers that I was like, yay. And I got excited. And sometimes I was like, are you kidding me? Then why am I even doing this? Give me one good reason why I should go. If you just told me that all I'm going to sell is this much and the participation fee is this much, like, is this worth it? Thank you for that information. I still have to show up. Yes, I still have to show up because I was committed, because I had said I was going to be there and I was committed. And they reminded me that I had a commitment to be here to learn and grow and expand. I did not have a commitment to be here and make X amount of money. So in one way or another, doing that pop-up supported my commitment to be here to learn, grow, expand. And it was up to me to go and have a profitable experience without judging that based on just the monetary currency. So yes, thank you for that information, Spirit Team. I'm going to go and I'm still going to give it my all. And I'm going to talk to every potential customer like they are my next best friend, because there is a gift in here somewhere. And I am determined to show up and find it. The information that I have been given does not spoil the gift. It only amplifies it, because now I have this awareness that it's going to come in a form so much bigger than a dollar sign. Which, of course, when you're a startup business, like, you want the dollar sign, right? I mean, there was a part of me that was like, okay, I'm going to go park there all day, do all this work. And you just told me my take home is going to be like a couple $100. Like, but when I got past that mindset and that perception of you just told me I have a bad outcome, I showed up ready to create my good outcome. Another example, my mom is hella psychic. She fights it. She's scared of it, but she is. And around the time of 9/11, the weeks, months leading up to it, she kept having these dreams that it was going to happen, and she would not let me fly. I was in college, and she couldn't really stop me, but she kept encouraging me and my sisters not to fly. Then 9/11 happened. And when I just right now read your question, that's what came to my mind. Like, what good is her having these dreams and this perceived, I don't know, happening if she can't stop it? Where's the gift in that? Now I take myself back to my own words from my guides. The gift was not that she could foretell that a catastrophe was happening. The gift was that her veil is lifted. She can tap into her spiritual gifts, and just how you can tap into them to know that something bad is happening and you can't stop it, but that means that you can tap into what good is happening. That means that you can tap into your connection to God. And that just means that you have awareness and connection to your knowing. It is our human nature to want to control outcomes so that we can decide if it's worth it or not, if it's good or bad. And that is something that we're here to also transcend. That is something that we're here to transcend. And that is something that we're here to live with in faith. I know that sometimes my team give me assignments And in my human brain, I want to know, okay, are you giving me this assignment because this is going to be expansive for my business? Or are you giving it to me because it's something I have to learn? But the minute I receive that, I am already on the other side. I'm already receiving, like beyond the gift, because I am receiving. If you can just find the gift in the knowing, find the joy in the receiving without attaching to the outcome, then you really amplify your gift. A lot of people don't want to know because of fear. And I talk to humans all the time that, like how I clarified humans, because, we talk to a lot of things, but I talk to humans often who are trying to tap into spirituality because they are in a place of uncertainty and they just want to know because they want to ask their team or they want to download on like, when is my future spouse coming? Or when am I going to find that dream career and things like that. And it really minimizes the gift. And what happens is that you're not going to receive the spiritual knowing if it's so conditional. If it is conditional and you want to activate these gifts so that you can know what's going to happen, so that you can foretell and be prepared for good or bad, that is conditional. And that is not super supported. But if you can say, I want to activate this gift because I want to be a conduit for information without attaching myself to whether or not the information I'm receiving is good or bad or in my control, but just for the sanctity and the honor of being the conduit, being the visionary, lifting the veil. If you can just see that as a gift and remove the outcome, then not only do you put yourself in a position of being a stronger conduit, but you put yourself in the driver's seat to be able to utilize your free will in a way that is less attached to the outcome, which makes you a more potent manifester. And I know that sounds a little bit like too good to be true, but try. If you were to hear something bad that's going to happen and you still show up for it in your best, in your highest, and you are determined to find the light and the gift, then you are going to get an automatic upgrade in your receiving. And you are going to be in a vibratory state of manifesting a healing, a miracle, something that turns that thing around because you showed up for it, regardless of the perceived outcome. And that is what makes you the sacred creator and the sacred receiver of the information. We could talk forever on this one, but question 3. Do you ever lucid dream to connect with your spirit guides and or perished loved ones? So I lucid dream a lot. I'm very active in my sleep. I don't even know that I call them dreams sometimes. I know that I'm astral projecting and we're getting to work. I know that I receive a lot of my downloads. It's a busy time, nighttime. Whether I'm awake or asleep, it's a busy time. But for most humans, our mind is kind of out of the way when we're sleeping, right? You're not receiving things and processing it through your cognitive. So you're able to receive in a more clear form. And you're able to tap into what's in your subconscious because it's just coming in. It's coming in. You're not creating it with your mind. It is just coming in. So a lot of times loved ones, yes, if they have passed and they're in spirit form and in your day-to-day, you are too much in your head or you are too scared or you are not really keeping yourself in a vibration to receive, dreams is a beautiful, welcoming place for them to communicate with you. I can say with certainty that if you dream your loved ones, they're visiting you. They are visiting you. They want to communicate with you. And a lot of the states of consciousness when we are awake for a lot of people, especially grieving ones, are not conducive to receiving messaging from them in a different realm. They're in the spirit realm. There's variety of where they can be in that spirit realm, but whatever it is, the dream state is the one that most often removes that cognitive processing and allows them to come in. So can you go to sleep saying, tonight I'm going to lucid dream grandpa because I miss him and I want to talk to him? Unlikely. But you can ask. You can pray at night and ask for it. But can you just go to sleep like it's a regular Tuesday and wake up and remember this amazing dream and visit that you had from your grandfather? And when you think about it, it just feels like it happened. It happened. And sometimes you don't even remember the dream. You just know that you had this interaction. It happened. Your spirit guide, same thing. Same thing. And a lot of times with dream states, what I've experienced and learned through many years is that I'm hearing myself talk to myself from other realms. And so that's me. That's my spirit guide, AKA Salwa on whole other dimensions, giving information. I would definitely encourage you to ask to receive these things in your sleep. However, know that the things that you do right before you go to bed are very important. The last thing you watched, the last thing you read, if you go to sleep like it's a ritual and you create the sacred container so that your dreams can be this sacred container to receive and you really set the intention, you have a wonderful, wonderful capacity to receive that. Now, if the last thing you do is fight with your spouse, watch, Real Housewives, which, hey, I'm not bashing. We all have a little Bravo moment, but there are things that will not support you entering that state that will open up those gateways more easily. But you better believe if they've been trying to reach you all day and all night or all evening and it's not happening when you're sleeping, when you're out of your subconscious, and when you're just like in this state of non-judgmental energy, you are more likely to receive. So you think you've received, you probably have. You probably have. And it's a great place to ask for more, but you must create the container for it. Question 4. When and how did you begin discovering the power of somatic release? What modalities of movement and other healings inspired the creation of divine sweat? Aw, such a good question. First of all, somatic release and, movement of energy. For those that don't know, when I think of somatic release, I think of the emotion and the trauma stored in the body. There's a lot that can be addressed in cognitive therapy. You can talk through it, but guess what? Like 75% of it is stored in your cells. You got to get the issue out of the tissue. And dance has always been my medicine, but I was dancing, since I was in school years. So I didn't really have that connection yet. I didn't know why it was healing for me. I just knew that I liked it. I liked how it felt. It helped me build my confidence. And it wasn't until I went into my spiritual awakening that I realized parts of my body that felt heavy or hurt or needed to move when I had certain emotions. And then I started to put those connections. Then I learned about the energy centers and the awareness of the energy centers and what they each represent. Connected with my intuition, I started asking my guides. I started asking them to show me things, activating movements that I know I've done before, lifetimes and lifetimes. And there's episodes that you could watch where I talk about this, but I'm not going to go into it now. But this has been innate because it's been in my body forever. So I am just remembering certain activating movements. But it wasn't until I understood the connection of light centers and how much our body stores that I could really piece it together with my love of dance, which I could really piece together with intuition, to then realize that there was this like integrative point where all these things served in one way. A lot of people get sick because they haven't moved certain emotions. And that is the hardest thing for me to see. And I can look at a person and I can kind of know, even if they're overweight, how much of that is due to emotion. And it's really sad that they have no idea. It's sad they have no idea because the gift in that is that they can literally have the awareness that, hey, I am obese because I am depressed and I don't want to talk about it. And it's so much of a blessing to have that awareness. And you can literally lose the weight so much faster than it's like, I just like fried food. So the emotional toll on our body, it gets stored there. We can hoard emotions through our weight, just how we can hoard stuff in our closet. I've always been very much into movement as my medicine. So that really has gifted me the ability to pay attention and know that, okay, I see what happens. If I can't make my workouts, I feel a little blocked. If I can't move, I feel a little blocked. But when I move and with intention and attention to my energetic field, I literally see my energetic field when I'm moving and dancing and even just working out. And it activates at a cellular level. So is everybody going to feel that right away? Maybe not. But A good way to start is say, I'm going to go on my release walk. And my release walk is that with every step, I have set the intention of what I'm releasing, and every step releases it little by little, and I feel lighter and I'm doing it. Boom, you've done some somatic movement. Or, hey, I'm going to do some deep breaths and grab my pillow and just like bang that shit out of my bed. I am releasing rage and anger, but I actually feel like you're releasing it. And with every time you hit that bed, think of something that you're ready to let go and just hit it and give intentionality to your movement. It doesn't have to be that difficult. Of course, I want to say, hey, come to Divine Sweat. I've already created these movements and you don't even know how much they're tied to the energy centers because you're just going to be having fun doing it, but it's going to activate you. And I do all this, like, whatever. It's not a sales pitch. I want you to know that you can do it for yourself. All it takes is giving a movement intention. Heck, you couldn't even go take a shit and make it somatic release, okay? Like literally go sit on the toilet, take your dump, be like, I am releasing this and I am flushing it away. I mean, it is that simple because it is in our innate nature to want to release that which no longer serves us. That is why we go to the bathroom. They literally could have designed us to not need to do that. But I have a theory that that is a daily reminder of how we should operate at an energetic level. We should release that which no longer serves us. And so our body is there to remind us of that every day. So give it intention. Give it intention. I'm going to go on my self-love run. And every little bounce, I'm going to feel myself turn into light and I'm gold and I am just this star love child, like whatever. Create your own movement story. And still come to Divine Sweat because, it's like a whole other level. Okay. But I want you to know that you can do your own somatic release on the regular with awareness and intention. Okay. I think I have time for one more. And this is from Meg. Why did I start having so many activations in my dreams? I've been in a dreamland bootcamp since June, at least. So many activations, it feels like training around for a new way of life. But when I wake up, I don't recall what I learned. I just remember waking throughout the night thinking, I need to write this down or I need to remember this. So back to, the dream state, which I touched up on the last question. Our dream state, just so you know, most of us leave our body in our dream state. We do. We're attached. We have our silver cord of energy that always brings us back. And maybe this scares you and you're not ready for it. So I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it is a time of expansion. It is a time of leaning into the gift of not being tied to the physical body, but also not dying. It's like, wow, how often do you get that? I'm crazy in my sleep and for me, I don't even fall asleep fully anymore before I start leaving my body, which took a while to get used to. It can be a little scary. The sleep paralysis feeling when you're still awake is like, it takes a minute. I don't think it'll ever feel natural, but I want you to know that if you feel like you're receiving things in your sleep, you are receiving them at a level beyond your psyche that you don't have to worry about writing it down and you don't have to worry about really understanding it. It's almost like downloads, but in your sleep. So imagine that's your iPhone and it's ready for an upgrade and it's going to do it at night while the phone is sleeping. I mean, that happens all the time, right? Now, when the phone gets restarted, the phone's not like, I need a recap of what just happened. No, the phone just operates faster, better, whatever you name it. It received what it needed to receive while it was down and not in use. So give yourself the opportunity to just receive without needing to process it. And that is why it happens in our sleep sometimes, because a lot of people get caught up in the cognitive and trying to understand it, which takes away from the gift. So at night, if you feel like you're being active, great, you probably are. And just consider yourself a phone being plugged in for its upgrades, for its downloads. Maybe it's one app at a time. Maybe your higher counsel's like, okay, she's ready for the app around this to be upgraded, but not the other. So it's going to happen in like 2-3 month spurts, and then it'll pause. Time to integrate, time to learn how to use these upgraded apps. Okay, time for more. It can be a gift, and it's different for everybody. Some people literally just go to bed and they're not so much receiving upgrades as healing. And they're processing things that they've been holding on to because they've set the intention, but they maybe haven't created the space during the day. So that is a gift from the divine. They're going to help you in your sleep. Just receive, and don't try to put your mind around it, because a lot of the biggest downloads are not meant to be comprehended. I mean, for example, when I do light code transmissions and I work on people, or just the grid through light codes, there's no way I would know what the heck that means. And if I was to go and sit there and dissect it, or, hey Siri, what does it mean? Like I would spoil the magic. But if you truly believe that you are here as a physical representation of something so much bigger, when things that are too big for us to comprehend happen, you can really just see the gift and receive. So that's why that is happening, because a lot of people are in their awareness asking for these things. And the best time and space for them to receive is in their sleep. That's when your spirit, your soul, is the most free. And that is when you connect to other versions of you in different realms. Really easy if you are very busy or whatever. You don't even have to be busy. Just some people in their sleep, it's like when it happens the most. And it can be very productive. Receive. Okay. There is one more question that I just got goosebumps. I think this has to be its next episode, and it's on autoimmune disease. Yeah, we're going to be doing a whole episode on that one. That's a lot, huh? Okay. Stay tuned for that one. This was a lot of questions, though. Thank you so much for submitting them, and stay tuned for the next episode, which will be the final one of season 1. Yay! Thank you for listening. I wholeheartedly hope you received a spark of inspiration, comfort, or new perspective in today's episode. Your support is truly appreciated and necessary on the mission of this Portalcast. If you feel it, please like, comment, share with your world, and leave a review. Stay tuned for the next episode coming soon, and follow on all social platforms linked in the description for all updates. To submit your own why questions to be featured in the show, shoot me a message. Until next time, may the activating life force be with you.